welcome to the Crafty Stitches podcast. My name is Mariette, also known as die Boervrou. I am coming to you from South Africa and this is episode 90. In the description box below this video, you'll be able to find all of the links of all of the places where you can find me on the internet, as well as the Ravelry project pages for all of the projects that I'm talking about. And I'm trying to be a little bit better at Ravelry, making better notes on the project pages. So I have added some video links to tutorials that I've been using and modifications that I made on the patterns. Today is Friday the 24th of April 2026. It is cool and raining today, so I am wearing some handmade items, of which one is a finished project. So I am wearing my purple fairy lily sweater, which is a design by me, and this little jacket that I have on is something that I have sewn quite a few years ago, and it even has a little lining on the inside, so very happy with that. And then, as you can see, my first finished project is my Serenity Scarf that I made for the Equinox make-along that I hosted on Instagram from the 20th of March to the 20th of April 2026. So in my previous episode I said that this scarf would look very good with my fairy lily sweater and a denim jacket, and it seems I was right. So with this cold and rainy weather, I thought it is the perfect weather to try out this combination. This is how I got dressed this morning when I got out of the shower, and it is the afternoon and I am still loving it. I will put up a picture of what the outfit looks like. So my finished project is my Serenity Scarf. So this scarf is made with 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon yarn. It is a sock yarn. It has 366 meters on 100 grams, and this was part of a kaiso combo, and this was the main color. So I started this project on the 22nd of March 2026 and I finished it on the 7th of April 2026. I used 36 grams of yarn for this one, and the Serenity Scarf pattern has two different sizes in it. Both are the same length, which is 140 centimeters long, but they are different in width. So this little scarf is the size 1, but I made it shorter so that it's more like a 90 centimeter length, and I did add the modification for that in my Ravelry project page. So I'm very happy with this little scarf. I just want to check my notes. Right, so I did knit this on a 3.25mm needle as per the pattern, and as I mentioned in the beginning, I did add some tutorials in the project page for this scarf. The tutorial that I used for knitting I-cord that wraps around a project. Alright, so that is the first project. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 works in progress to share with you. The first work in progress is my socks. I am designing a new pattern, sock pattern, and this will be the Tranquility Socks, which is the second design in the Tranquility series, I would say. I am using 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon sock yarn, which is 366 meters on 100 grams. The main color for this project I dyed myself in this beautiful butter yellow. And then I am just using various minis. Most of them are from the yarn swap that I did last December with my friend Leonie from Independence Yarn Crafts, and then some of the yarn is dyed by me and some of it is just bought. So this is what the sock looks like. It has the same striping sequence and lace patterning as the Tranquility Cowl. It's just knit in the round and in stocking stitch. So this is what it looks like. And I am knitting both socks at the same time on their own needles, and as you can see, both of them have their heels, and this one I have progressed a little bit more on the leg than this one, but I like to knit my socks at the same time, because if my gauge changes a little bit, it changes for the most part of both socks. So I have had it before that one of my socks is about 1.5 centimeters longer than the other one because of more stress or less stress while knitting the one sock versus the other. So I really like to do this method. So as you can see, I am knitting them on 9-inch circulars. I'm using 2.25mm Chiagu needles, which is my favorite knitting needles at the moment. And this is a 56 stitch sock, and I'm not sure what else I should say about this. I think that is everything for these. They are very nice and colorful. I just want to show you the bottom of the socks, which is just the normal stripy pattern, and yeah, I really love this pair of socks. They are gorgeous. So the pattern for this is in the making, and it will come sometime in the future as soon as it is ready. Alright, so let's move to the second work in progress. I'm going to jump to the hat first. So I am making a 1898 hat. This is the 5th hat that I'm making from this pattern, and this one will be for a gift. For this hat, I'm using SMC Select Extra Soft Merino Alpaca, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% baby alpaca, and it has 130 meters on 50 grams. This is the little yarn label, and I'm using color 6002, which is dark gray. I was thinking of making this hat in a striping pattern, but when I took out the yarn and I weighed it, I saw that I have more than enough in one color to make a hat, so I decided to stick to one color. So this is what I have so far. And if you are not familiar with the 1898 hat, this looks very funny, but this is actually the brim portion of the hat, which is knitted flat like this and then folded over to make a little ear flap, as you can see there. So this will go over the ear like that, and then after this is finished, you pick up the stitches from this little neat stitching at the top, and you knit the body portion of the hat in the round while decreasing to the top. Right, so something that I wanted to mention about this pattern is that the pattern is written where you can graft the back seam. So you do a provisional cast on and graft the back seam, and I used to do that because I'm not a big fan of seaming, but the last 2 hats that I made, I did not do the graft option. I actually did the long tail cast on, and I have linked the video tutorial for that as well in the project page of this hat, which will be linked down below this video. So the reason I started doing a long tail cast on and done the dreaded seaming is because the wearer of the hat can then easily feel the thickness of the seam to know which part of the hat is the back of the hat. The other ones that I grafted, I actually had to work a little dot at the back to indicate which is the back, and then it is always a thing of looking for this dot. So the seaming makes it a little bit easier with the thickness to easily locate the back of the hat. As I mentioned, this hat is for a gift. I have no idea if I'm getting the same gauge as I did on the others, because I made two with this exact yarn combination. I don't know if I'm getting the same gauge because I did not make notes on the unblocked gauge of the hats that I already made. So I'm going to finish the brim portion, sew it together, and maybe just steam it and see if it comes out the correct size before I pick up stitches for the crown portion of the hat. So yes, that is coming along nicely. I'm knitting it on 4.5mm needles. The only modification that I'm making in this hat is I am adding 2 repeats of A and B on the headband of the forehead part, just to make this part a little bit longer, because I found that that is needed for the specific head size that I'm making this hat. So I'm basically adding 4 total rows to the part in between the ear flaps. And something that I found very interesting when I was making notes for this episode, I saw on Ravelry that there is 8,917 project pages for this pattern, of which 5 is mine. But yes, a very popular hat, I would say, if I look at those project pages. And I do understand why, because it really is a lovely hat to knit and to wear. I'm not a hat person, but even I made one for myself. So yes. Alright, I think that is everything for the hat. Let's move on to my third project and third Tranquility Cowl that I'm currently knitting. So for this cowl, I have dyed the main color with acid dye, and I did dye the main color of the size 1 sample for the pattern, and I actually showed that cowl to the person that I'm making this for, and she loved the colors. So I was very nervous to dye this main color again, because I did not weigh or measure the dye powder. I just threw it in the pot, and I'm very happy to say that it came out more or less the same color. So this is the sample one that I showed this person, and this is the main color that I dyed for her cowl. So yeah, I think I did good. I think I achieved the color. So this is the project that I've knitted so far. Let me just grab it. There we go. It's getting blown out a little bit. So currently I am finished with the 14th contrast color of 22. So it is moving along very nicely. And for the contrasts in this cowl, I am still using some of the yarn swap yarn that I swapped with my friend Leonie from Independence Yarn Crafts, and some of these yarns comes from my own stash. So like for instance, this color was the mini of the first ever indie dyed sock yarn that I bought. I bought this from Naughty Habit, and this one is the main color of the same sock set. So adding in a few of my own stash yarns in this one, and I really love it a lot. So this will be the side that goes around the neck like this, and that will be at the back, and then it will look a little bit like this. I have 2 needles on this project currently because I'm knitting this project on 3.5 and 4mm needles, and the reason for that is the body is knit with a 3.5mm needle, but my increase side of the I-cord is knit on 4mm needles to keep it nice and stretchy so that it isn't like a little rope around your neck. The techniques is explained in the pattern, and I made a video tutorial for how I do that. It is linked in the pattern as well as on the project page, so that you can check that out if you're interested in that technique. Okay, and one of these days I will have to do something about all of these ends, but luckily there's an I-cord that I can hide them in, so that is very nice. I have already picked out the rest of the colors for this cowl, and I decided which will be the last two colors in the cowl, so I'm getting there slowly but surely, and it is a good thing because it is getting colder and colder here, so I'm sure that this cowl will be very welcome, as well as the hat that I'm making. Alright, the last project that I want to share with you today is just a quick one. It is my Brioche Memories blanket, the fingering weight version. I only added one little square to it, but I would like to show it to you anyway. I'm knitting this blanket on 3.5mm needles, and I'm making it with sock yarns. Sock yarn, which is usually a blend of 75% wool and 25% nylon or polyamide, and I'm using yarns that I used in other projects, so I don't have a lot of yarn lying around for this project yet, because I'm still working with the yarn swap minis in different projects, so only after I finish these projects I will be able to add the yarn swap yarns into this blanket. Although I did take one of the yarn swap minis and I added it to the blanket already, because it is a self-striping yarn and I did not want to add a self-striping yarn into the Tranquility projects. So this is the little square that I added. It is the bottom corner square with I-cord on this side, as well as on this side, and it is very nice and square in this corner. So this is what the blanket looks like. I'm gonna try and show it and not hide my face because it blows out the colors a lot. Oh, it already does that anyway. A little bit difficult to show. So I mentioned in the previous episode that I am trying to square off this blanket so that I can work in rows, just because then I can keep track of the blanket a little bit easier mentally, and then maybe I can like take a progress picture after each row has been added. So I finished the bottom row now, and then after I've squared off this blanket I'm going to wash and block it so that I can get rid of all of these little ends at the back, and I cannot wait for that. Unfortunately, I don't think this blanket will be finished very soon because there is still quite a lot to be knitted on it. But yes, looking forward to that. So I think currently my blanket is 16 squares wide, so that it's just big enough for a single person to lay under it. So hopefully if I finish these projects I will be able to add a little bit more into this blanket. Right, so that is it for my projects today. I have to say, after I've knitted this shorter Serenity Scarf and I've put it on this morning, I had to stop the urge of just casting on another one, because they are so fun to knit, and I mean, just look how cute it looks. It is amazing. I love it, and It is just that little bit of extra warmth on a cold day that you need, and I am loving this outfit today. That is it from me for this episode. Please let me know in the comments down below what projects you are working on. I would love to chat with you about those. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you are doing well wherever you are in the world, and remember to make time for the real treasures in life. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye.